somebody said yes, boom, my first ever client. It was that simple. Hi everyone, Abdel here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. And in today's video, I'm going to be telling you the steps I took to start my own consulting business from scratch. Now, if you're new here, please consider subscribing because I'm going to be dropping a video every single week about personal development and business development. So if these two subjects are something that interests you, you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel and stay connected. I graduated from the university in Portugal back in 2008. So my background is mechanical engineering at uni. A month later, I was landed in a job working in a company called WS Energia in Portugal. So João and Gianfranco, if you're actually watching this video, big shout out to you guys because you taught me a lot in business and in the professional world, if you like. So yeah, thank you very much. I worked there as a production manager for 3 or 4 years. And then, because at that point I was actually thinking about where I would like to be 10 years from that moment on. So I decided in 10 years time, one of the things I would like to do is actually be in a business. Not necessarily starting my own business at that point, I didn't think about that. What I thought was, I'd like to be like in an executive position 10 years from that moment, right? Like a sales director, like, business development director of a big corporation. And with that in mind, I knew for the fact one of the first steps to take is move myself from the engineering background and looking for something that is going to be more to do with this business I'd like to be in 10 years from now. And what was that? I needed to start from scratch. Now, not long after that, an opportunity came to me. So one of my friends that used to attend the same school I graduated from connected with me and told me, look, we're looking for somebody for a sales job, okay? Now, at that moment, I thought, whoa, this could be my opportunity here. And what I'm gonna do then? I've never sold in my life. Yeah, let's jump into it. I needed to step up my comfort zone. So what I did then was I embraced that opportunity to work in one of my favorite car industry brands ever. Guess what? I was working at Mercedes-Benz in Portugal. That was a massive change for me, but I was starting from scratch. Right, here I was, an engineer starting as a salesperson. Now, this was something very new to me. Everything was new. This was my first ever sales job, like in a more serious way. I stayed at Mercedes for about 2 years, but guess what, guys? I failed really, really bad. So not only I didn't know how to sell, didn't seek for any help, any professional, anyone that could actually help me in this new thing, right? So,
Lord Trigger, I would be the next project manager or do an excellent job.
You're not going to be the next project manager because I think you are a lost cause in this process. Stephen, you're fired.
I was made redundant because I wasn't performing. That was the reality. I didn't want to accept that at that moment. I tried to fight it, but deep down, I didn't perform. Obviously, they had to get rid of me. Simple. I was trying to actually be successful in that business. But that affected me so much. And I decided, you know what, I don't really want to stay here. So this is the time for me to pursue my dream of international business, okay? And at this point, my mum was living in London with my sister and my brother for about, 6-7 years at that point. So then I decided, okay, I'm going to move to UK. But that decision didn't just come overnight. I didn't just pack my stuff and went. As soon as I realized things weren't going very well at Mercedes-Benz, I started applying for jobs in the UK. I remember having a friend of mine living in the UK at that point, Ricardo Miguel. If you are watching this video, you know I'm talking about you. So he was the one that actually gave me a hand and said, yeah, go for it. Just, put my address as your contact address when you're applying for jobs in the UK and let's go for it. Send as many CVs as you can. Something that really cool happened. So where Miguel was working, one of his colleagues at that point used to work for this other company that were looking for somebody that could speak Portuguese because they wanted to get into the Brazilian market. And boom, that was my opportunity. I applied for that job. I was still living in Portugal at this point, and a few weeks down the line, I was called for a job interview. There I was, running to the airport, catch a plane straight to the UK, have the interview, and I had to come back there for the second round of the interview. And yeah, finally I got a job by this gentleman called Abdel, in a company called Can Design. 2 weeks later, I was flying to London to then start my new journey, my new chapter of international business. Not long after that, about a year later, I discovered something that really changed my life. I discovered one thing called personal development. I didn't even know what that meant at that point, but I remember clearly having read one book that changed my life completely. This book was called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Oh my God, I can't even tell you how deep that book was in my life. I decided to take a few time to actually learn who I was as a person, what was my reason for being in this planet, and what contributions I could do and give to other people. So this took about 3 or 4 years to learn who I was, okay? In the meantime, I was reading so much books about personal development. I carried on, and this new job was again sales. But because I failed in the previous job in sales, he opened my eyes in a very different way. So I knew if I want to succeed in sales, I'd have to learn about sales. I'd have to read up about sales. I'd have to find somebody that actually knows about sales that could teach me something. And that's what I did. So this time I decided I'm not going to fail at this job. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and become one of the best salesperson in that company. And it was. And the reason for my success was to do with clarity. So I knew at this stage what I wanted to be and how successful I wanted to become in that particular field of sales and marketing. So that's why I actually ended up spending too much time in learning about those two skills. In 2015-16, I decided to go ahead and start this first thing. So spoke with my cousin that was living in Angola, Wilson Barros, and then we came up with this great idea, okay? We were gonna start a consulting business to help small and medium-sized businesses scale through business development, communication, and training. So these 3 areas, okay? Basically helping people with basic stuff about business, communication, marketing, how they position themselves, this and that, and training. Like anything, when you're starting, we were so excited to go ahead and smash it. Plans, so we spent time looking at the websites, logos, the name we were going to give to the business, which in fact, that name stands till today. The name we came up with was a combination of our daughters' names. But suddenly we just stopped, okay? Because we didn't even know where we were going with that. No direction, no structure. We didn't know what we're doing on a daily basis. Naturally, you're gonna fail at that thing, okay? And that's what happened to me. But I knew clearly I couldn't give up. I carried on going. I ended up starting a business with a colleague of mine at Can Design. Again, we went through the same things, put up the logos, blah, 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 and we started actually selling something or using Instagram. Very slow, products weren't moving like vastly as we thought. But then again, there was something else missing in our business. Lack of structure, lack of direction. We didn't know where we were going with that thing. Another big failure in that, because that business actually didn't take off. Not long after that, we had to close the business. It was another learning step for me, okay? I didn't give up, carried on working, still with this business thing in my mind. And I thought, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna smash this. Somehow, I'm gonna do this. Because I was getting very good at sales. All the process, the people I was connecting with, I was talking to many people because I was, dealing with clients all over the world. So I had clients in South America, in Europe, in America, in Asia, in Africa. I mean, I had clients all over the world, and this made me learn about different cultures, different ways of actually doing business. I combined all that knowledge together, and I thought, you know what? Why don't I just start my own consulting business, teaching other people how to sell, right? I was good at selling. I like sales. Business development, I like business because I'm quite organized. I like seeing structures in place. Yeah, this is an opportunity for me. Boom, that was it. That's how I actually went ahead and started my own business. But because I failed twice before, this time things changed for me. This time it was quite different in a sense that I knew what mistakes to avoid, okay? Which, by the way, you don't avoid them all. So you just avoid the ones you learn from, okay? And that's what I did. I went ahead and I knew how I needed to start. And at this time, I knew for the fact I shouldn't spend a fraction of time thinking about logos, thinking about websites, thinking about this and that, because none of them things matter in order for you to actually go ahead and start your business. What really matters is starting conversations with your potential clients. And that's what I did this time, because I learned from the last time. But there's this one problem in business, one challenge, I would say, it's not a problem, which is basically obscurity, meaning nobody knows who you are. You could have the best idea in the world, trying to bring that into business, but nobody knows who you are. And if people don't know you, guess what? It's going to be very, very difficult for them to buy anything from you. They can't trust you. They've never seen you performing. How do you actually go ahead and leverage the fact that you are new into the business, but you still want to help these guys and you still have the knowledge to help them achieve something, okay? I had great connections, so created a massive database when I was working for Car Design, connected with many people. So in those companies, just reach out to a few different people. Hey, I used to work for this company, you know me, we've had a few deals together. Now I went ahead, I started my own business. I was wondering whether you could actually give me some of your time so I can explain to you what I'm doing to see if there's a fit for what we both do. Now, this didn't happen overnight. I didn't ring to the first guy and the guy said yes, so it took time. Because I did that so many times, eventually somebody said yes, let's talk about it, come and see us, because we have a sales team and our sales is not actually performing, we need somebody to come in and help them. Boom, my first ever client. It was that simple, okay? It was a small company operating internationally, selling some components, and they needed help. Somebody that could come in, assess what they're doing, and then give the salespeople training to perform a little bit better. That was it. That was my first ever client in my consulting business. If you ask me now, what was the main thing for you to go from working for somebody to go ahead and start your own business? To me, was discovering personal development. That changed my life completely, because you're gonna have to understand this. For you to go from being an employee to become an employer or to become a business owner, your mindset has to shift somehow. You cannot think same way making that transition. It's just impossible. One of the things that really helped me was discovering personal development and going deeper in finding who I was as a person. That helped me massively, because I knew then what I wanted to be. I knew then who I wanted to help, okay? I didn't know how it was gonna happen, but I had clarity. It's like, you know, when you are home and you want to go somewhere, you've got destination in mind. So let's say from here, I wanna go to Newcastle, okay? The only thing I know is that I've got an address where I want to get to, okay? I don't know the house. I don't know if I need to turn left, right. I have no idea. But there's one thing is important. If I didn't have that destination, I couldn't even leave my house. Where am I going to? I have no idea. But once I have the destination, guess what? The how to get there comes in place. Because I type that address, the GPS then is going to tell me. But I need to start. Before I start, The GPS won't tell me turn left, turn right, go ahead. See the difference? Many people have great ideas, but they just sit on them. But if you don't start, you won't see the destination. That's fact. Action is very, very important. Having clarity in where you want to get to, then start. It doesn't matter how you're going to start. It's not going to be perfect when you're starting, guaranteed. Well, if it is, then you need to teach me something. This was actually way I went from being an employee to become an employer. There's one thing I didn't say. If you really want to start your own business, once you're working for somebody, you need to start seeing the place you're working in as if it was yours. What would you do differently? What sort of vision have you got for the company you work for today that you could change as a business owner? Because if you don't understand that, the chances are you will not understand starting and growing your own business. I really hope you could get a feeling of what changed in myself to go ahead and start my own business. If you are planning to start a business, if you have this great idea in mind that you want to put in place but you don't know how, listen to me. Do not get too worried about the hows at this stage, okay? Get clarity in where you want to be, who you want to help with your product or service, and having a big why can be a motivation for us to actually get up and start walking towards somebody. So guys, end of the video, and I hope you could see the journey, is full of failures and some success as well. I have so much more to tell you about, not just my personal experience, but what I see other people doing in business and personal development. Stay connected. If you haven't done yet, please go ahead, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, like I said before, I'm going to be dropping a video every single week. I hope I see you here in my next video. Peace.